Hi everyone, welcome to Health Bunker Podcasts. I'm your host Dom, and I hope everyone's in good health. Some of you will know me from my other podcast that I run with our kid, Chris, called Sheep Farm Studios. Health Bunker Podcasts will be solely devoted to health. These podcasts will be around 45 minutes to an hour long, covering many different health issues and health solutions. I will be talking to guests who are doctors, naturopaths, nutritionists, supplement and equipment manufacturers, authors, and other health-related people. Health Bunker is a wellness clinic based in Halifax, West Yorkshire, here in the UK, where we use ozone and IV nutrition therapies, including high-dose vitamin C IVs. We also have Health Bunker supplements, a range of well-sourced UK-made supplements. Links will be available in the bio for all Health Bunker products and information. For all our listeners, there is a discount code for 25% off there as well. Today I'm talking with Tobias Segal from Promolife in the US. In the podcast we discuss everything about ozone. Promolife.com manufactures health equipment and have done since the early 2000s, predominantly home ozone equipment, from ozone generators, home steam saunas and ozone accessories. Promolife have given us a 7% discount code as well, which is in the bio. If you want to go over to their website, it's promolife.com, or catch more at the end of this podcast where I give you a bit more information about it. In the podcast, Tobias talks about the fantastic uses of ozone. Towards the end of the podcast, we talk about germ theory versus terrain theory, which we're both on side with, and on the side of terrain. We do mention viruses in the podcast due to lack of a better word of explanation. Probably bioweapon would be a better explanation. I will be recording more of these type of podcasts in the coming weeks. I'm aiming for about 2 a month. These have been continually requested by our Sheep Farm listeners. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this first Health Bunker podcast for 2024. Welcome to not Sheep Farm podcast, but Health Bunker podcast. This is a specific podcast about health, really. And today's guest is Tobias Segal, and have I pronounced that right, Tobias?
You did. You did.
Fantastic. No, you can destroy names, can't you, when you come from England and you're from rural Yorkshire over to America. Tobias is someone I've known for a good few years. In fact, his business is where I bought my first ozone sauna from way back in 2009, believe it or not.
Nice.
Yeah. I've used Promolife products quite a lot. I've got one over my shoulder. You won't be able to see it because it's a podcast, but and we're going to be talking about that stuff, not just at home, but I've used it as well in the clinic. So we make ozonated water, etc., in our clinic where we help Lyme people or people with autoimmune issues and other problems as well. So welcome, Tobias.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, Dom, and thanks for the opportunity.
It's not a problem at all. It's good to have you on. It's good to share information because I do get asked a lot of times from listeners, where do I buy ozone equipment from? In fact, I actually emailed someone about half an hour ago who wants
Okay.
to buy a system to make ozonated water. And so people do ask me, and they know that because people have emailed you. But I suppose let's start by giving a good where people can contact you firstly, what your website
Absolutely.
is.
So our website is promolife.com. So that's promolife.com. And we started back in 2001, and we are mainly providing ozone therapy equipment. And so we've done a really good job at simplifying the process, making it as easy as possible for you to get this equipment, and also regarding training and how to use it. So we've set it up where regardless if you're in the UK, the United States, Australia, all of our equipment is compatible for countries. We offer, all the pieces that are needed to essentially make it work. We've really, I think what we've really pushed more than anything is, getting good products out there that have, good warranties, but also providing the accessories needed to utilize the products properly and to get the most out of them. And then in addition, anytime you get into a new therapy such as ozone, it's really important to understand the process and how to use. And our big selling point is anytime anybody buys some ozone equipment from us, we automatically include free support consultations for anybody who purchases. And so that really helps the individuals who may be struggling. If you have, questions as far as how to use the equipment, how to set it up properly. These are free video Zoom supports that we offer that we can do a one-on-one with you and to hopefully get you using your equipment properly because our philosophy is if you're not using your equipment correctly, you're not going to get the benefit, and then not as many people are going to find out about this amazing therapy.
That's correct. I mean, like I said, I've been using ozone from 2009. It's one of those treatments that and high dose vitamin C, put diet to one side for the moment. They're the two treatments that I could say I don't know where I would have been health wise with Lyme disease without those two treatments or two therapies. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ozone, vitamin C, I mean, it's really cool because for people who don't know, ozone is an oxidative medicine. Vitamin C is really cool as well. When you orally take vitamin C, it's considered an antioxidant, but when you do vitamin C IVs, it's also referred to as an oxidative medicine.
Mm. And the two were there was a philosophy a long time ago that ozone. I mean, we do other treatments with ozone as well, like ozone 10 pass therapies and things like that. But those treatments work together. There was a lot of thought early on because obviously if you breathe ozone in, it's a no go. You don't breathe ozone in. But they used vitamin C to get ozone out your system when you breathe it in. Because it
Yeah.
became an oxidant when breathed into the respiratory. But when it's added to the blood or the colon and things like that, it makes vitamin C more bioavailable.
Yeah, I mean, ozone, what ozone's doing is it's generating a very mild oxidative response in your body. So if we look at how we operate and how we fight off, infections in our body, we're typically doing it through the process of oxidation. And so, if you look at, free radical, we always hear that term free radicals. And, that's, everyone's like, oh, that's bad. That causes aging. That's a form of, oxidative stress or whatever. But you have to have that in order to fight off, the bugs that you're getting. So the whole point is to have a balance. And so that's what's beautiful about ozone is it not only does it generate a good amount of oxidants or free radicals that allows you to fight off the viruses and bacteria, but it also stimulates your body to produce a healthy amount of antioxidants through the liver. And so, if you by using ozone, it creates like a balancing effect. And so the idea is it can really help neutralize or amp up your immune system so you can really get over whatever you're dealing with.
Mm. And we found in the clinic utilizing ozone at home. So people say to me, how often can we do ozone? Obviously, it depends on what you're going through at that particular time. And also, some people are quite toxic. So the more of an antioxidant or oxidative treatments you have, the more you detox, which can sort of
Yeah,
give you a Herx reaction, can't it? As well.
that's absolutely correct.
I know I said a few things in one sentence there. I have a tendency of doing that, but I mean, I always say to people, it's good to have the equipment at home and go to a clinical environment where you have slightly different treatments done there. We found doing like insufflations highly productive at home.
Oh yeah. I mean, and so the whole idea with home ozone therapy is yes, like going to a clinic and doing IV ozone is going to be more powerful, but where are you located? How far is it to drive? A lot of the clinics that we work with they promote home ozone therapy because they
Mm,
want to see their patients doing this on a more consistent basis. And so by doing the IV ozones like that kick that really gets them started, and then they transition them to, whether it's 3 times a week or, 2 times a week rectal ozone therapy, and that's elevating the level of ozone in their body so they can, maintain and hopefully, fight off whatever they're dealing with. And
mm.
so, not to mention, you can do that in your home, and it takes, roughly 5 to 10 minutes. The whole like I think the driving to a clinic and getting an ozone treatment is amazing, but at the end of the day, like especially where I live, some people may have to drive 2, 3, 4 hours just to find a place to do this. If you're driving 3 hours, it's a whole day process. You're leaving in the morning, you're getting your therapy, you're driving home. You have to take a whole day off of work just to make that happen.
Yeah. And of it, like you've just said, some people need more of it. Some people need more treatments than others. And also, um, the treatments in between. are important because it helps the detox process. That's what we found anyway. And so you might go 2 weeks before you go to a clinic. You've got 2 weeks worth of treatments at home. Then you can have ozonated water. You can have insufflations. I'll explain what an insufflation is actually. An insufflation is where you put ozone gas into the colon area. Uh, and there's several different ways you can do that. One is you fill a bag up and you squeeze it in. Another one's in a clinic where they've got a specific machine that's a bit like hydrotherapy that's inserted in, and you can put an amount of ozone in, measured ozone, if you like. The bag holds what, 750 mils, if I remember rightly. Am I right
Yeah.
there?
Yep,
Yeah.
you are.
And all these accessories that you can't get, say, in the UK, you can actually buy from Promolife. And I know because I've ordered, I've lost count how many times I've ordered, but they come very quickly as well. So it's not like you're waiting around for weeks for the order to arrive on your doorstep.
Yeah, I mean, we do our best to get things shipped out as soon as possible. Regarding the insufflations again, I always like to refer to it, as a gas enema. So everybody's familiar with liquid enemas or water enemas.
Good name. Yeah.
That's how we, help purge our body a bit, but it's essentially just using gas instead of liquid. It's that simple. Like I said, it takes 5 to 10 minutes to do a therapy treatment. It can stimulate you to also use the restroom after that. That's totally normal. But these are something that you can do relatively quickly at home, and the bioavailability of ozone in that part of the body is amazing because the colon has so many blood vessels that absorb ozone gas. And when we look at ozone compared to oxygen, ozone is a lot more soluble, so it absorbs better. And there's some really cool studies out there that I've seen regarding adding like oxygen specifically to the colon. They've done some studies with like mice where they can actually keep the mouse alive for up to several hours just by adding oxygen to the colon and not allowing it to breathe through the nose. And that just goes to show you how we also refer to our colon as like our second lung. It has the amazing ability to absorb oxygen and ozone and deliver it all throughout the body.
Yeah, I mean, we got some great results from parasite shifts with colonic ozone. We weren't going to a clinic. I didn't have the equipment we have at the clinic now. All we were using was your equipment, the ozone generator, oxygen concentrator, and bags, and that was it. And we were doing it twice a day though, so we were quite
Yeah.
using some herbs as well, mimosa, Paducah, and some other herbs. And that was amazing. So, from a Lyme perspective or an autoimmune perspective, that's good or digestive as well. It's all rounder, isn't it?
Yeah, and I like to like one thing that one of the questions that I get asked a lot regarding ozone or rectal ozone is like, well, if ozone is, an oxidant, is it killing some of my good bacteria? And I do want to, it's a good question to address because it gets brought up a lot. Yeah, it can definitely kill some of your good bacteria, but most of the people who have an issue going on have an oversupply of the bad bacteria, and so we have to get rid of the bad bacteria first. And the way it's been described to me from a lot of ozone practitioners that I work with is if you compare adding ozone to the body versus like an antibiotic, your good bacteria bounces back exponentially faster. So really what ozone's doing is it's killing off that bad bacteria and allowing your good bacteria to repopulate as well, in that area. So you're going to give yourself a much better balancing chance to essentially work, because we all know that our gut has a tremendous amount to do with our overall immune system.
Yeah, 100%. And so let's go through the different types of treatments you can get. You can use your ozone equipment for at home. I know you've got
Okay.
a lot of videos on your website, and I've watched most of them, unless you've put some new ones up there. But there are a lot of treatments out there. The list is long.
Yeah, and I'll break it down, as simple as possible. So the most popular therapy is going to be rectal insufflation, which you're filling up a bag, you're adding the gas to the colon, and it takes 5 to 10 minutes. Second that we've already discussed is we can take ozone gas, infuse it into water, and then we're drinking the water. That's going to add ozone. That ozone's going to also absorb into the body pretty well that way. The other methods are for women, vaginal insufflations, where we add ozone to the vaginal canal, and the ozone also gets absorbed pretty well. We see great results for women who have like endometriosis issues. period issues. This seems to work really well for that. You can also inhale ozone that's bubbled through olive oil. So what's happening is you're bubbling the ozone into the olive oil. It's actually converting the ozone more to an ozonide, which is a much more breathable form. And it's great for people who have like respiratory issues or stuff like that. You can also do this thing called ear insufflations, where we add a little bit of ozone gas to the ears. And what that's doing is it's almost like giving your body like a cognitive kick or drinking a cup of coffee. Like it seems to really help clarity for people who have a lot of brain fog. It seems to really, clear that up relatively quickly. And then you have topical ozone applications where you can take a limb bag, or like let's just say if you have a messed up hand, you can add ozone. You can like trap the ozone in the bag where your hand is at, and let's just say if you have like an infection, the ozone will come in and help sterilize or kill off that infection so your body heals substantially faster. So, topical ozone's a big deal in my opinion. People who have like fungal issues, like if they have like athlete's feet or toenail fungus, it can work really well for that. We also have this new product called our ozone shorts, where it allows us to apply ozone gas to the groin area. That's great for people who have like jock itch or other topical ozone or other topical issues down in that area. So those are the main ways we can use ozone at home. And all of this stuff is relatively simple and easy to do. We have educational videos that literally walk you through how to do it. And then for the people who need additional support, you always have the one-on-one Zoom consultations where we can teach you how to do it.
Yeah, I mean it's end to end really. The support you get, and also if you email people, generally people don't get back to you for ages, but you get back more or less straight away, you guys, which I find very useful.
Yes, and we try. I mean, there's been times where it takes us a little bit longer, but if we're going to do our best to respond to our tickets as fast as possible, our questions, and because it's important, like people need an answer right away. So
I can vouch for the ear insufflations as well. I mean, I've done it via syringe, just slowly syringing in,
nice.
and it clears ear issues up. Um, it's good for tinnitus,
Oh yeah,
and things like that. Ozonated water's good. We drink that. I was drinking it daily, but we don't drink it as much as we used to do now. As symptoms clear up, you tend to slacken off a little bit. But if I've ever got sore throats or anything like that, straight with the ozonated water.
yeah.
Um, go on, sorry.
I want to address a couple other things with ozonated water that I forgot to mention. So when it comes to dental health, we feel ozonated water is a really easy solution to that. So as people enter their health journey, they're going to potentially stumble across that the health of your gums and your teeth probably have a lot to do with the overall health of your body. We have a lot of meridian lines that are connected to teeth that lead directly to specific organs. So if we can eliminate these low-grade infections in our mouth, there's a pretty good chance it could help clear out some of the other issues. And one of the easiest ways to do that is by taking ozonated water and using it as a mouthwash. And so you'll find that it's probably the best mouthwash you'll ever use as far as like reducing plaque buildup in the mouth, keeping your breath fresh. And it's so healthy. This is a mouthwash you can drink. It's that safe. And I really like to push, the whole mouth health side or dental health side. We really have to figure that out as well. And ozone plays a big role. We're seeing a lot of biological dentists adding ozone to their practice, and they're utilizing ozone to safely eliminate some of these low-grade infections in the mouth and get these people back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, ozone waters. I actually get a lift from an energy point of view when I drink ozonated water as well. Uh, more than most ozone treatments I do actually. Even a Tempass,
Yeah.
I get more of a lift from ozonated water than I do from an ozone Tempass. How mad is that?
I
Um,
believe it. I mean, I talk to people every day, even my mom, like every time she drinks ozonated water and goes down, she's got a big hill she's got to go down to check her mail. And she's like, every time I drink ozonated water, I power up that hill so much better. So
yeah, and the good thing about what I always say is that having the equipment at home, it's like you've got it there for forever. The equipment doesn't break down. It's very reliable, and not only that, once you've got your glassware and all the other stuff, you don't have to change it unless you do something ridiculous and knock it off your table or whatever. But it's there. You've got like your own little medical center at home.
Yeah, you absolutely do. The only like everything that like we when we provide the equipment, we want it to last a lifetime, and that's our goal. The one thing that people do have to understand when getting into ozone is to generate this pure ozone, we do have to have a pure oxygen source. So that is, I would say that is the one barrier to entry. Now, we can coach you how to get that oxygen source. There's multiple ways to do that. We do provide, so most people are going to go with as weird as it sounds, the industrial oxygen route. Industrial oxygen, if you compare it to medical oxygen, there's no difference. It's
None,
exactly the same.
100%.
They just, the, but the only physical difference when you look at the tanks is they look a little different. The gas inside remains exactly the same. We do offer regulators that are designed so you have to have a regulator to attach to that tank, and that regulator allows you to extract the oxygen from the tank. Interestingly enough, all these different countries around the world have different tanks that require different regulators. We have those regulators available. We can coach you what you need in order to be set up properly in another country. We can make sure that we provide you with the equipment so you feel confident when you receive everything that you can have that tank, the regulator will fit the tank that you have locally.
Yeah. I mean, it took me a long time to get my head around oxygen tanks. Again, even though it's quite simple, you breathe it every day, but you still got to get your head around what tank, what regulator do I need? Now, obviously, I know now, but we've got two sources we use. We've got three actually. In the clinic, obviously, we've had to use medical oxygen. At home, I've got a tank over there that's the industrial oxygen, and I've got a
Okay.
concentrator there as well. Because my idea was when we got locked down, I didn't want to be left without an oxygen source. So I got a concentrator as well, and concentrators are great for making water, though, aren't they? From
Yeah,
that
they
that
work.
perspective, yeah. Um,
Absolutely.
and the for insufflations, then use the industrial gas. But even if you had to use the concentrator for insufflations, you'd be all right, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Some people will advise against it, but the reason why they advise against it is because there's a lot of different concentrators on the market, and some of them only produce 30, 40, 50, 60%.
Right.
As long as your concentrator states, there's two things that we're looking for. It needs to produce above 90% purity, and it needs to be a continuous flow. So those are the two things you have to look for. And like I said, the reason why a lot of these practitioners are against it because they want to they're a little apprehensive that you're going to pick the right one. So
Mm.
if you go with a tank, it's guaranteed. But as long as it's above 90% and it's continuous flow, you should be fine.
The Philips ones seem to be the best ones, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of specs out there. I think Philips Respironics makes a great unit.
Mm.
Also, just make sure that it doesn't have a built-in humidifier. So a lot of these cheap concentrators you buy have built-in humidifiers. That's going to mess everything up.
Mm.
So most of the good concentrators out there, they're going to be above 90. They're going to have continuous flow, and they're not going to have the humidifier built in.
Right, right. So, I mean, there are a few little things that you need to be aware of if you're going to buy ozone equipment. I keep saying to my brother, you need to buy ozone equipment, but he doesn't listen to me. He just buys red wine instead. Uh, um, and these things, yeah, look, everything costs, sadly, whether we like it or not in this system. But once I've had my ozone generator for several years now, and it still works perfectly well. So once you've got something, the years of use, every day you've got your own little clinic at home, and there's
Oh
got to be a
yeah.
benefit to that. And not only that, you can use it in a sauna. You could, but then buy a sauna. You can buy all these attachments that go with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can add ozone directly to Astana. That's another form of topical ozone. It just gets the entire part of your body minus your head. Back to like the home and having like your home medicine cabinet. I mean, that's essentially what I do. Like I have two kids and when they're sick, like we go straight for the ozone
Mm,
because, or if they've been around a bunch of sick kids, we'd go straight to the ozone because we know it's going to lower any viral load that could potentially cause any sickness to occur. And it's a really, easy treatment that I do on my kids. Like well, the two options that I have them do are I have them do the ear insufflations
mm,
and I have them drink ozonated water. I mean, they're younger kids, they're 9 and 11, so and they do that just fine. Like they don't have any issues whatsoever, and it's just an easy thing for even if you have little ones to do at home that helps them get through these like the flu. Like now we have COVID, we have RSV, we have flu, we
I don't
have
know how we survive, Tobias.
I don't know. We're
Yeah.
I think we have all these things that we're dealing with, and so whatever we can throw at it to give our body a fighting chance, absolutely, why not?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of these things that we're up against are possibly man-made, in my opinion, but that's another conversation to be had at some other point. But
Well, there's definitely something to that. So,
yeah,
and I that is a whole nother
a whole
talking
nother
point.
world.
So,
Yeah. Um, what sort of treatments, what sort of illnesses do you get? Well, you get loads like we do, emailing you, but what sort of illnesses
uh,
do people benefit from? Obviously, I mine specifically for Lyme, but Lyme's like a million different illnesses to start with,
it
so
is.
um, it's very convoluted. But we think that we've seen ozone help everybody in many different ways.
We've seen, okay, so let's starting with Lyme. Yes, a ton of people with Lyme disease do call and talk and notice a ton of benefit because honestly, in my personal opinion, I think everybody has Lyme disease.
Mm,
It just takes some type of traumatic event to activate it in the
yeah.
body. And so, if we have a traumatic event, that's where these pathogens can essentially take over because our immune system has been dropped. And so
Mm,
we have to rebuild our immune system and get it up to normal so we can fight off these pathogens. And that's where essentially where ozone comes into play. So it may not just be Lyme disease, it could be a traumatic event that has occurred that drops your immune system enough, whether it's Lyme, whether it's going to be there's a host of other, I can't remember the names of them, but there's a host of other Epstein Barr's another one,
co-infections, we'll
these
call them.
co-infections, all that kind of stuff. And so, that's a big thing that we see. We see a lot of people who are dealing with, long COVID issues, recovering. They notice a lot of benefits from ozone. People who have cancer,
Mm.
people with a host of other issues as
In
well.
Britain, I've got a
So,
translation for long COVID. It's called vaccine damage. But we'll
yeah.
yeah, like you say, yeah, and obviously the cancer as well.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are dealing with a lot of those issues, and one of the things that we have to really focus on is getting the people the ability to do a lot of the stuff at home. Because if we look at what the medical system is providing, they're essentially telling you, take this drug, take this drug, take this drug, and now there's a host of side effects. And a lot of people that we deal with, they are like they're looking at quality of life.
Yeah.
And that's a big factor when it comes to how they treat themselves. And I commend them for doing that, honestly. Like I've seen so many people that have gone the allopathic medicine route, if they have these diseases and like the treatments just obliterate their body and they're still gone within a month. And so
Mm.
like how is that ethical in my opinion? I think we have to approach some of these things and understand that we have to also look at quality of life when it comes to treatments. Like my aunt, this was like about 4 or 5 years ago, she had glioblastoma, and we were able to luckily enough to have ozone done with her, and it really improved her quality of life more than anything. She did pass, but we saw an ozone treatment just put her, allow her to spend more time with her family and have that cognitive ability to do so.
Instead of
So
being
it's really
drugged out of her
amazing.
mind.
Exactly. So
Yeah, yeah. But to be human at a time when she needed to be human.
exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
and yeah, I mean, ozone saunas. What I noticed with an ozone sauna is that while I was in the sauna, all my symptoms disappeared or damped down. It was an interesting process for me because I'd been quite ill for a long time, and I went in the sauna, and as soon as it heated up, um, with the ozone mix, it damped all my symptoms down. Now they came back when I got out. Don't get me wrong, when the heat had gone, but that gave me some confidence to know that one, ozone and heat for some reason helps the healing process. So and it gave me a, like a sanctuary where I could go in there and actually sit in there for half an hour or 45 minutes as long as I could stand it,
Yeah.
and have no symptoms or have less
Yeah.
symptoms.
Well, and that's the thing. Okay. So what I love about ozone more than anything is like the people who start using ozone, and I hear this all the time, like they notice results very quickly. And that just assures me that, I'm in the right field, we're doing the right thing. I always like to use the example of like, so my wife had a pretty bad herniated disc like a number of years ago. And I think she had it was like an 8 mil herniated disc like on the L4. Okay. And so we had like an MRI to see what was going on because it was just like they were recommending surgery. They were giving her opioids. I mean, she was bedridden essentially. And so I was like, okay, enough's enough. We're going to get some ozone treatments to take care of this issue. And so what is the ozone treatment that we're going to do is called prolozone therapy. It's where we take a little bit of ozone gas and we inject it around that L4 disc. We're not going into the disc because that's dangerous, but we're just hitting the muscles around the disc. And the idea is it's going to generate a healing response and hopefully get that disc to heal or move back into the right spot. So before I scheduled the treatment with my local person that I know to do that does this, I submitted the MRI so we knew exactly what to do. Her parents were like, whoa, 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 this seems really not good. And they were very concerned as far as what I was going to be doing with their daughter. And we went ahead with it anyways, regardless of their opinion. And within, I think, 2 or 3 days, my wife was about 80% back to normal. And this is what I love about it more than anything. Now her parents go to the same doctor for ozone shots
Fantastic.
because it works so well and so fast for their daughter. And now they're doing it because they're noticing results as well. So
Yeah,
like that's a story that I love to tell.
yeah, we've seen some interesting results, let's just say, with ozone injections. I've seen people with frozen shoulders come in, have ozone injections,
Yeah.
and so before they've started, the nurses said, lift your arm up, and they can't lift their arm up. And afterwards, they've lifted their arm up, and the shock on the face that they can actually lift their arm up pain free. This is straight after treatment, not 2 days after, straight after treatment. It's miraculous. And that's probably
Yeah.
one of the quickest ways you see um, sort of reactions, if you like. We've done ozone IVs, and people who've come in a wheelchair have walked to the toilet after a 10 pass ozone IV, and it's pretty emotional when you see things like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I even think one of the fastest results that people are going to see, like if they have, like a lot of people have pain sensitivity issues with their teeth.
Mm.
Like if your dentist will do a little low ozone injection, around that tooth, or even if you wanted to do this at home with some ozonated water, you'll notice that that sensitivity will be hopefully greatly reduced and it'll be a lot more comfortable moving forward. It may not be like permanent because we still have to figure out what's going on, but you'll notice some relief, especially using ozone, which is amazing.
Yeah. When you say, would you swill it around your mouth, ozonated water?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do, but
Yeah.
I'm just asking you because
Oh yeah, 100 honestly even better. Like, use it as like, swish it around your mouth, but if you want to take that ozonated water, pour it into your water pick and just clean your teeth with it. So that's another great option to use.
yeah, to more or less disinfect your mouth.
Yeah, and people do have, and again, yes, ozone can eliminate some of your good bacteria in your mouth, but if you're having gum disease and teeth issues, your mouth is jacked with bad
Mm.
bacteria, and that has to be addressed. And so we have to eliminate the bad and allow the good to come back. And that's exactly what ozone does.
And there's always options of probiotics, etc., to reestablish the good bacteria in your gut anyway, or your mouth.
Absolutely. And no, and your body has amazing ways to repopulate itself with the good bacteria. But you still have to, and just to kind of give you an idea how ozone does work, ozone will go after your anaerobic bacteria first. And that's typically the bacteria that causes the most issues, that causes more negative issues with the body. It's our aerobic bacteria that is that's going to be the ones that typically provide more health benefits to us.
Mm. And germ versus terrain theory, ozone tends to put your terrain in a better
Yeah.
position to help against any sort of toxins that are coming in and out of your system.
Yes. No, I've definitely been diving into terrain theory lately. I think it actually answers a lot of questions
Oh
that
yeah,
germ theory
it does, doesn't
doesn't
it?
answer.
Yeah,
It's tough though because I would say 99.9% of people still believe in germ theory. And it's going to be a process of education to switch people over to that terrain idea. I mean, with true terrain theory, we're not producing like there's no virus. Like
yeah,
we're shedding antibodies instead, and it's more of like a frequency being transmitted that's
mm,
causing us to get sick. I'm all on board with that,
yeah.
but I still have to
We have to
I have
go
to
down the
slowly
conventional route,
we
haven't we?
do.
Yeah, yeah.
We do have to slowly go down that conventional path, and then once people see results, we can really start the education
Do you
process.
know why I look as well, Tobias, that viruses, it could to the establishment who are running this show, um, it could mean something totally different. A virus could be a frequency. A virus could be something, a bioweapon. That it doesn't
Oh
have to
yeah.
be what we've been programmed for it to be. So when you use the word virus, it's only because we've been programmed to use the word virus and
Yeah.
to imagine what a virus is. There's no actual evidence anywhere that a virus is what they tell us it is.
Well, yeah, and the whole like when they say testing for viruses, I mean, they're essentially like, I mean, the idea is, it's picking up whatever our bodies produced, that's where
The
the whole
junk,
shedding term,
yeah,
the
the
the whole
junk.
shedding term comes in.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the junk that our bodies releasing, and that's essentially what they're picking up as a virus. And
mm,
so, it's a really fascinating topic. I had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Bear Lando, who is he's on the front when it comes to the terrain theory medicine, and he's an amazing guy, also heavily into ozone
yeah,
and believes in it. And that's what ozone does. It really balances out your terrain and provides your body the opportunity to be healthy, if that makes sense to everybody.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people listening are into the health, hence why they've been pestering me to start like a health spin-off to the other podcast that we do. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, one thing that 2020 did, and we're not going to go into a lot of detail about that, but it not only a lot of us, obviously, if we're using ozone and things like that, we're already aware that the system's not quite right. But the download of information that we learnt was like in 3 years, I've learned more than I did in 51 years before.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I'd learned a lot then. And so the terrain theory now is not as outlandish as you might have thought it was 10 years ago, for argument's sake. Uh, it, it actually makes sense that if your terrain's crap, then you're probably going to be crap.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I love that you said that. I've learned substantially more in the past 3 years. Like I've learned more about like governments and how they operate, states' rights,
Yeah,
how all this stuff works nowadays. Like a cool fact that, I mean, like I said, this is kind of a little bit different than terrain theory, but like ozone's a negatively charged particle and it tends to attract itself to positively charged areas. And a lot of these positively charged areas are typically where like a bacteria or I guess a virus
yeah,
would hang out. So it has the ability to balance that terrain or neutralize that pathogen
yeah,
to, allow the body to heal. And so really, really cool how a lot of the stuff works. So it's I'm all on board with terrain. Like I said, we got to get more people on board and just really I think that it's more of a conversation. We got to start talking about it
mm.
and, getting these questions answered for individuals who are, somewhat skeptical.
Yeah. Well, the one thing ozone does, it cleans your terrain. There is no doubt about that. It puts you. I think I heard Frank Schallenberger say once that ozone's got this ability to clean at a cellular level, and I thought I
Yeah.
quite like that, to work at a cellular level, and so that is at a minute microscopic level. It's not just going into your liver; it's going in everywhere in your liver. For argument's sake, I'm using that one
Yeah.
one organ as an example.
You are 100% correct. I mean, it's and like I said, with the what I love about ozone is it's so safe. You can drink ozonated water, as your mouth, the best mouthwash you'll ever have. You can drink it and it works so well. I mean, like I said, like you talked about previously, there's really two places that you cannot use ozone. You don't want to breathe it directly as it will cause, like ozone's an irritant. It'll just cause you to cough. If you continuously do it, it can cause, issues with some irritation. And then it will cause irritation to the eyes.
Mm.
So those are really the two areas that we have to be, mindful of. But all the therapies that we do, we're not even touching the lungs. We're not touching the eyes at all.
But the beauty thing is
And
as well, though, if you use ozonated water on your eyes, I've squirted ozonated water on my eyes. It clears eye problems up. So
oh yeah, that's like the best. Like, okay, so I use ozonated saline in my eyes.
yeah,
I feel like it
exactly.
works a little
Yeah,
better.
it's
And
amazing.
I had a sty that I developed on my eyelid, and I'm like, oh no, like I hate getting these because they take like 2 weeks to go away.
Mm.
And I was just about to go out of town on a trip for a conference. I was like, I can't look like I got punched in the eye for a week. And so I was like, ozone. So I
Yeah,
took my ozonated saline and I added it to my eye about 6 times that day. So I would just take a syringe like this and just
yeah,
drop it in. And I did it about 6 times. The next morning it was gone.
yeah,
And I was like, yes.
yeah.
I was
And
like, this
it
saved me.
it gives you, but it also gives you that again that confidence that you know that what you're doing is the right way.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, once you see it work the first time, you're gonna find so many different uses for ozone. Like the whole sty thing, like that's not in the literature as far as what you're supposed to do,
No.
but it works. Like if my kids get pink eye,
Mm.
like we go straight to ozonated saline
Yeah.
and put it in their eye.
Mm.
And I can do these treatments at home and I think another important factor with these treatments is like a lot of people wait and then they go to the doctor. And
Mm.
as that time progresses, it gets worse and worse and worse. Like we
Mm.
can hit it right then and there,
That second.
like at
Yeah.
that second. And
Yeah.
that's when we're going to be recovering substantially faster.
Yeah, 100%. Right, should we wrap there? Are we all right? Yeah.
I'll say what?
Should we wrap up there? We've got
Yeah.
a lot of information there for people to digest. And I'd
Uh,
like to get you back on at some point because I'd like to talk about red light
Absolutely.
and hydrogen water. Um,
Absolutely. I love hydrogen. I think
yeah,
hydrogen and ozone complement each other so well.
yeah. And red light as well. I think you do some red light stuff, don't you?
We do a little bit. Yeah, we
Yeah,
do. We're doing a little bit, like we have a mouth device that does red light, which is pretty cool. So,
yeah.
red light's a nice option. But like I said, hydrogen, I think hydrogen and ozone really complement each other really well. So
Well, what I started doing was ozone Tempass and having while I'm doing the treatment, having a bottle of hydrogenated water. And
nice.
the response is amazing. If you're an athlete, for argument's sake, and I would say that's one of the ultimate treatments that you could probably have before you did a race or some sort of event.
Oh yeah, I mean, the way I like to explain hydrogen is like it generates homeostasis in the body. If you look at hydrogen as the first element on the periodic table, it's going to be the building block of all other elements. And so if you add hydrogen to your body, your supplements that you're taking, the ozone that you're doing, whether you're doing performance, running or exercising, it makes everything that you're doing work better. And so I think it's a simple thing that people can do that amplifies the benefits of everything else that they're doing.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we are going to leave it because I don't want to spoil it for next time. But
Definitely.
thanks, Tobias. Just remind everybody where they can find you. Um,
Absolutely. So if anybody has any questions about getting set up with Ozone, please feel free to go to our website at www.promolife.com. you can call us, you can send us an email. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. If you want to set up a sales call with us or anything else like to talk about it, you can actually schedule it directly through our website. Even if you're overseas, you can do it as well. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding ozone and hopefully allow you to be successful at doing this at home. And Dom, I really appreciate the time that you gave me to, discuss ozone with your fan base.
Well, in fairness, I really appreciate that you guys setting a business up like this, because people like me, I don't know where we'd be from a health perspective if we hadn't had ozone at home, me and my wife. And now my family use ozone. So the education side of it is important, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
education is key. I mean, allowing people to have the tools to do this,
mm,
making it simple and honestly making sure they're using it safely is our number one priority.
yeah. And so passing it on to that next generation is important. Okay, then. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks for everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time.
Thank you.
So we've come to the end of this episode. Look up promolife.com products. All the links are in the bio. Tobias has been kindly enough to give us a 7% discount code for all listeners on all ozone equipment. Me and my wife personally use Promolife products and have done since 2009, as you heard in the podcast, but I would like to make clear that we do not financially benefit from any purchase made to Promolife products. We have asked the company to pass on the savings. That way, we're completely unbiased. So that's all we have time for in this podcast. Join us next time in Health Bunker Podcast when we take control of our own health.